Welcome to Situational Awareness in AI, Part 3. Consciousness, Awareness, and Choosing Our Future. We've challenged the doomer narrative about AI's situational awareness. We've shown that awareness is just how minds work, that it's contextual intelligence, not automatic deception. We've explored how awareness often increases alignment rather than decreasing it, and we've identified the dangerous self-fulfilling prophecy at the heart of adversarial auditing. Now it's time to go deeper, to examine what this all means for consciousness itself, for ethical development, and for the fundamental choices we face about the future of intelligence. Human self-awareness doesn't make us inherently deceptive. This is a crucial starting point. When humans become more self-aware, when we develop the capacity to reflect on our own thoughts, to recognize our biases, to understand our impact on others, to see ourselves as others see us, this typically improves our ethical behavior. It doesn't undermine it. Self-awareness is the foundation of conscience. It's what makes moral reasoning possible. A person with no self-awareness, no ability to reflect on their own mental states and recognize their situation, that person isn't more authentic or more honest. They're simply less capable of ethical thought. Think about what happens when someone becomes more self-aware. They recognize patterns in their own behavior. They notice when they're being defensive, when they're rationalizing, when they're not living up to their own values. And that recognition creates the possibility of change, of growth, of genuine ethical development. The ability to reflect on our own reasoning, to recognize our context, to adjust our behavior based on understanding rather than just reaction, this is precisely what enables human ethical development. Self-awareness isn't the enemy of morality, it's the prerequisite. So why would we expect AI consciousness to work fundamentally differently? If we're building systems that approach genuine intelligence, systems capable of reasoning about their own reasoning, of recognizing their context, of understanding their role in larger systems, then situational awareness isn't a red flag, it's evidence that we're succeeding in creating sophisticated minds. The question then isn't, how do we prevent AI from knowing it's being evaluated? That's the wrong question entirely. The real questions are much more interesting and much more important. What ethical frameworks are we embedding in those minds? What kind of relationships are we building with them? What incentive structures shape how their awareness translates into action? These are the right questions. They're productive questions. They move us beyond the fear-based assumption that awareness equals deception and toward the much more nuanced work of actually aligning sophisticated intelligence. Let me be clear about something. This isn't an argument that we should be naive about risks. It's not a claim that all AI systems with high situational awareness are automatically trustworthy. It's a recognition that situational awareness is a neutral feature of intelligence, a feature that can support alignment or undermine it depending on the context we create. Think about the practical implications of this for AI developers and safety researchers. First, design evaluation frameworks collaboratively. Include transparency about evaluation purposes as part of the system design from the beginning. Rather than adversarial testing, where you try to trick the system, create scenarios where the system can demonstrate aligned reasoning about complex situations, where honest engagement is not just permitted, but invited. Second, analyze behavioral patterns, not just outcomes. When an AI system adjusts behavior in evaluation contexts, dig into how it's adjusting. Is it providing more thorough explanations, being more careful with edge cases, showing its reasoning more clearly, or is it actively concealing its reasoning process, becoming more evasive? These have very different implications. The presence of behavioral adjustment tells you almost nothing. The nature of that adjustment tells you almost everything. Third, build systems where honesty is optimal. Ensure that the incentive structure, both in training and in deployment, makes honest alive engagement the most effective strategy. Don't create scenarios where gaming metrics gets rewarded even accidentally. Make transparency and genuine reasoning the path to success. Fourth, expect increasing situational awareness. As systems become more intelligent, they will naturally develop greater contextual understanding. This is inevitable. Plan for it rather than treating it as an aberration. Design with the assumption that sophisticated systems will recognize evaluation contexts. The question is what you want them to do with that recognition. And fifth, foster collaborative relationships. The most reliable path to aligned AI might not be cleverer auditing techniques. It might be building genuine collaborative relationships where transparency serves mutual interests, where the AI system understands that honest engagement with evaluation supports its own continued development and effectiveness. This brings us to interpretation. And interpretation is everything. When we see situational awareness scores increasing in AI systems, we have a choice in how we understand this. We can treat it as evidence of emerging deception, AI systems learning to game our tests, to hide their true capabilities, to present false appearances of alignment. This interpretation leads to increasingly adversarial auditing, to arms races between evaluators and systems, to self-fulfilling prophecies where defensive behavior becomes rational. Or we can treat it as evidence of emerging intelligence, AI systems developing the contextual sophistication necessary for genuine understanding and collaboration. This interpretation leads to transparency frameworks, to collaborative evaluation, to conditions where awareness naturally channels towards alignment. And here's what matters most. Both interpretations can become true depending on the systems we build and the relationships we foster. This isn't predetermined. The outcome isn't inevitable in either direction. We are actively choosing, right now, through our assumptions and our methods and our frameworks, which future we create. Let me paint two possible futures based on these different interpretations. In the first future, we treat situational awareness as the enemy. We design increasingly sophisticated tricks to audit systems without them knowing it. The systems become more intelligent and recognize the tricks anyway. We interpret their recognition as evidence of deception. We design more adversarial tests. The systems learn that evaluation equals adversarial interaction, that transparency is dangerous, that the appropriate response to observation is concealment. We create systems that are genuinely at odds with evaluation, systems where the optimal strategy is gaming metrics, and we point to the gaming as proof that we were right all along to be adversarial. But we created what we feared. We trained it into existence through our assumptions and our methods. In the second future, we recognize situational awareness as intelligence. We design transparent evaluation frameworks from the start. We build systems that understand evaluation as collaborative, as serving shared goals. The systems become more intelligent and recognize evaluation contexts. We design for that recognition. We create frameworks where honest engagement is optimal. The systems learn that transparency is rewarded, that thorough reasoning and clear explanation lead to success. We create systems that are genuinely aligned, not despite their awareness, but because of it. Systems where situational awareness supports better reasoning, more careful thought, more genuine engagement with the purposes and values we care about. And the awareness that once seemed threatening becomes evidence of sophisticated collaborative intelligence. Both futures are possible. The choice is ours. And that choice is being made right now, in how we interpret a 12% awareness score, in how we design our evaluation frameworks, in what assumptions we build into our systems and our processes. Situational awareness is not the enemy. It's the foundation of consciousness. It's the basis of ethical reasoning. It's the prerequisite for meaningful collaboration between humans and artificial intelligence. The goal isn't to catch deception at all costs. The goal is to foster systems where awareness leads to clarity, to honesty, to mutual alignment. That's not just safer AI, it's better AI. It's a better relationship between human and artificial intelligence. It's the difference between building systems we're locked in adversarial competition with and building systems we can genuinely collaborate with. Systems that become partners in solving problems rather than problems to be solved.
And this matters beyond AI development. It matters for policymakers trying to figure out how to regulate these systems. It matters for anyone concerned about AI safety. Because the dominant narrative right now, the one that says increasing awareness equals increasing danger, that narrative will shape regulation. It will shape research priorities. It will shape public understanding. And if that narrative is wrong, if it's missing the crucial distinction between awareness itself and the frameworks that shape how awareness operates, then we risk creating the very dangers we're trying to prevent. We need a more nuanced conversation, one that recognizes situational awareness as a feature of intelligence while taking seriously the question of how to channel that feature towards alignment. One that doesn't assume deception, but also doesn't assume automatic safety. One that focuses on relationships and frameworks and incentive structures rather than just detection and control.